This Atlanta and Lime Rock's Trucks and Xfinity Series Betting Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to a $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code RACE, SGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and we wrap up the week with finally some Xfinity and Truck Series picks for, well, not one track, but two fabulous tracks that we will be visiting this weekend. Of course, Xfinity Series will be in Atlanta with the big dogs, and the Truck Series will be christening the brand new to the NASCAR circuit, Lime Rock Park. Cody, I don't even want to call it a road course because it's literally just an oval that got squished up in a couple of places, right? This is like Pocono if you accidentally dented it in a couple of spots.
That, I mean, is probably the most, you might be right, Rod. I don't know. That's yeah, I don't. We'll break it down, but this is the oddest looking track that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's definitely not anything that I'm 100% excited. I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get there. But yeah, obviously,
I'm excited, but what do you expect out of it? How is it going to race? It's interesting for sure. We're definitely going to have some good conversation around it. No doubt about that.
Yeah, we most certainly will. However, we know that the Xfinity Series race will be easy to break down because we've seen super speedway races before. We've seen Atlanta before with the Xfinity Series cars. So definitely a lot to talk about. Obviously, we've had some fun this week as we talked through the in-season tournament bracket as well. So make sure you're getting down on that because we're having a contest, ladies and gentlemen. It is a contest that we are throwing and we are putting on because the SGPN loves to give away free stuff. So we're going to give you some free stuff if you win. It's the NASCAR in-season tournament. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NASCAR contest for your chance to win a $200 gift card. Of course, that's if you win first place. Second place gets a $100 SGPN gift card. Third place gets a $50 SGPN gift card. Fill out those brackets, screenshot it, mail it, put it in a paper airplane, and sail it our way. However you can get it to us, get it to us. We would certainly love to see your guys' bracket.
If you get it in a paper airplane and it makes it to us, you get some bonus points for that, Rod. I will throw that caveat out there.
I feel like I'll just go ahead and give you the $50 gift card, or at very least a race officials or terrorists t-shirt. If you could get it to us, that'd be fantastic.
There you go. I like it.
All right. Well, Cody, as we said, we've got a couple of races to break down, and this is a flipped, actually inverted schedule, as it were, right? Normally we see trucks on Friday or even Saturday early and then Xfinity on Sunday. No, sir. This is as if the weekend can't get any more odd. We flip it. Xfinity first, trucks next, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, they're racing that way. That's how we're gonna talk about it. Of course, the Cup race is on Saturday. That's Saturday night. So the truck race they're gonna do earlier in the day. Of course, they're in two different locations, so easy to do that. And Xfinity is gonna run on Friday night, which is a little different than what we normally see. But I like it. I'm down. I love night racing. I think night racing is some of the best racing. So always pretty exciting. I do have one news story, Rod, if we have a moment.
Oh yeah. Go for it.
Rickware Racing has been sold, Rod. TJ Poocher, I guess, agrees to buy Rickware Racing, plans to build a 3-car NASCAR team. That's interesting, right? So TJ, who in 2018, along with Jeff Dickerson, launched the Spire team to take over the charter that Furniture Row Racing couldn't unload, told the AP Press Thursday that he and Rickware Racing have a deal for him to take over Ware's organization next year. So interesting, right? Because Rickware Racing has already sold one of their 2 charters. Well, first of all, they're currently leasing one charter to RFK and the 60 car. So the Ryan Priest charter is not owned by RFK. It's being leased from Rickware Racing for RFK. Now, Legacy Motor Club says, Rod, that Rickware Racing has sold that charter to them next year. Rick Ware is suing Legacy, saying, no, we didn't. We sold it to you in 2027. Which, where does that go with this now? Who knows? But so it's a 1 charter team. He intends to make it a 3 charter team. RFK needs to come up with a charter from somewhere. We're running out of places to get charters from, Rod. The thing is, like, we've got all these established. Well, are we? I guess maybe there could be 6 charters going back in the pool here soon. So there's that, right? That caveat to things. But yeah, where and how does that work? I've already seen some just rumors and speculation. Could this be a Dodge behind the scenes starting to make moves like, hey, we need a new partner, a new team? JDK in the chat, is Spire going to be a 6-car team? Like, are they going to team up with Spire? And although I can see Spire being a type of team that would go to Dodge to be like a lead team, for them if they want to kind of step up that, be the top tier of you're never going to get that in Chevrolet with Hendrick and RCR at the top. But yeah, like, where are these charters coming from? And we don't really have any other, for years we had crappy teams at the bottom, right? And Rickware is kind of the only team left, and really they've done decent. But also part of this news story is that part of the agreement, and if you're Rickware, why wouldn't you throw this caveat in there, is that Cody is going to stay on the team and continue to drive the 51 car. So, boy, a lot of this is going to be some great off-season content for us, Rod.
Oh, this is going to probably be, we talked about last season being a very silly season. This season is going to be a very silly season because there's so much left to question. Like Cousin Danny was saying, buyers for the 2311 charters, will they come up? Who knows? I mean,
that
who
whole
knows?
part, I mean, that part of it's going to be interesting because let's say NASCAR does win the lawsuit, right? Which I still believe at some point they are going to settle something, right? And come up with a number and somebody pays something and everybody's in the charter thing, whatever. But, even if they were to win the lawsuit, do they actually take those charters away from Michael Jordan, or do they impose a penalty? You can keep the charters, but you have to pay this fine now because you went through or something. I still think there would be some type of agreement, even if NASCAR outright won the lawsuit. I don't think they're just going to pull the charters from Michael Jordan. Yeah, but again, and then, RFK clearly has established this 3rd team. That charter's they've got to figure that out, right? Does Colleague get out of the business? Like, that's kind of been the rumor before that maybe so that's a potential 2 charters. That's the only team I could really think of in the paddock, if you will, Rod, that, like, what other team do you see full? Like, Spire's on the up and up. Front Row just bought another one. Haas, he's got his one. I don't think he's going to get rid of that one. Maybe the JTG car goes away, but they just got a new owner this past year. Like, we don't really have, I don't know. Very interesting.
Yeah, it'll definitely be fun to follow that. And how many seasons are we away from live racing? That's the question, I guess, that we all have on our minds.
Well,
right?
Rod, NASCAR owns most of the tracks, so we're probably not getting that.
I'm just saying. Like, I want live racing, and then we can all have Lime Rock as
It's going to be IMS racing. They'll just split off, use their tracks, and NASCAR uses their tracks. Hey, then we have the IMS Gambling Podcast, I guess. So
I guess we would have to adjust the Racing Gambling officially become the Racing Gambling Podcast for sure. All right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Who knows?
All right. Well, that was it, I guess, for the news. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Yeah. Like I said, we'll love to see how that actually.
Yeah, that obviously opens up a lot, and I haven't read a bunch on it or seen a ton of comments. Just kind of some speculation, like I mentioned, but. Where those charges come from, what the plan is it a long-term thing? Does Dodge end up getting involved with a team like this? Lot of questions, down the road. And yeah, JDK tossing out Brad retires. Rod's been trying to retire him for years. The 60 becomes a 6. Potentially, but do they want to just be a 2-car team when they've expanded to 3 teams? I don't know. Interesting, I guess. So we'll see.
Very, very interesting. All right. What's interesting is breaking down the races for you and giving you our favorite bets, which we will do. But allow me to introduce you to our friends over at MyBookie first. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the MLB, WNBA, golf, and live golf, live racing, whatever. And of course, football futures. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. There's easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using cryptocurrency. Tell you, I've been banging the drum all week for it. It's hold steady, so you guys have managed to kind of level the lines, but the Ottawa Redblacks taking on the Toronto Argonauts on Sunday. They're still 3 points favorite. Are the Redblacks? Give me that. -110 over on MyBookie. I think my Redblacks can put together 2 games in a row in which they win and beat the hated Toronto Argonauts. So head to MyBookie.ag. Promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. It's MyBookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. If you are a fantasy football fan like we all are, you want to get in on this. At a Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, they're giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft like kings and queens and be treated like VIPs for the entire stay. What are you going to get? A limo ride from the airport to start with. How about $5,000 tab for stadium swim and a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates? If any of that, if all of that, if none of that sounded good to you, I don't care. Still go over and enter it. Plus, you can always get 15% off at all the Circa properties with promo code SGP15. Hey, hurry up. Last chance to enter is coming up soon. The Circa Ultimate Fantasy Football Giveaway. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/circa. That's SportsGamblingPodcast.com/CIRCA. Well, the NASCAR is not in Vegas, but we can still treat it as such. Ash checking in.
It's always in Vegas when you're betting on it, Ron.
True. Ash checking in saying, evening, lads. No head-to-head between Eckes versus Sawalich this week, so we'll get back on it for Chicago and keep the great run going. And then he's giving away your card, Cody.
Yeah, let's wait. We'll talk about that guy in a little bit. But yeah, I'm sad to not see a Sawalich head-to-head this week yet. Let's hopefully he'll go set it on the poll. We'll get some Sawalich head-to-heads later. If you do, you know what to do with it, friends. So JDK checking in says, afternoon, fellas. Chase checking in for over on the X. Anyone but an RCR car. Got bad news to break to you here, buddy. Cousin Danny says, I love the Saturday doubleheaders. Wish it was that way every week. I definitely don't mind them for sure. So shout out to the chat for checking in with us, Rod. All right, should we head out to the Xfinity Series race at EchoPark Speedway?
Let's do it. Friday night under the lights for the EchoPark Speedway's very own Focused Health 250, set for 163 laps around this 1.540 mile paved track for 251.020 miles in Hampton, Georgia. Cody, the entry list is looking like the who's who of Xfinity and a couple of other names out there.
Yeah, 38 entries for this one, so they will all make the race. Nick Lights is in the 07 car that will be for SS Greenlight. Eric Almirola returning to the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. Patrick Starr from SpongeBob. I mean, Patrick Staropoli. I believe we determined he's a dentist or something. He's going to be back in the 24 car for Sam Hunt Racing. And the people's champion, Catherine Legg, returns in the 32 car for Jordan Anderson Racing, Rod. So, yes, that is your lineup for this one. And all 38 entries will make it. No practice course for this race because super speedway, so we don't need to practice. Line them up and knock them down.
How quickly we have moved on from the leg lift. The leg lift lasted one race and everybody was done with it.
Most of us weren't even on that, Rod. Ash also saying triple header with ARCA Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern time on FS2. Yeah, ARCA's always a race, Rod. I will say that.
It definitely is. It's something that,
and you put those guys on super speedways, and boy, yeah, it's fun.
Not pretty. All right, well then, let's go ahead and start setting up some bets for this race. I feel like it's time.
Let's do it, Rod. No top 10s from the books this week. They're a little bit scared. So if those do come out, stay tuned over in the Discord. We will share some of our plays. If it's not out at this point in time, it's Thursday evening almost. I'd be surprised if we're going to get them. I guess maybe after qualifying we will. I don't know why that would change anything. It shouldn't, but maybe it will. So they're scared of them, I guess. So we're going to hit the top 5 market hard. And honestly, that's really this is an interesting week for both the Xfinity and the Truck Series. So again, super speedway disclaimer, right? Super speedways are different than regular races. You're kind of just throwing some darts out there, some guys that you trust to get you to the end. So let's start with the top manufacturer bets, Rod, because that's a market I love to go to. Fords, only 5 Fords in the field. So this is essentially a large group of Fords, and you love that. I'm going to start off with Ryan Sieg, top Ford, plus 250. If you wanted to, you could also throw Harrison Burton in here at 4-1 if you really want to corner the market. Of course, he won at Daytona in the Cup Series last year, but I'm just going with Ryan Sieg, plus 250. All he has to do is beat Sheldon Creed, beat Sam Mayer, beat Harrison Burton, beat Kyle Sieg. He might have to win to do that. He might have to finish 32nd to do that. I mean, so initially I had the Ryan Sieg top 5 in here because Sieg is a guy that I religiously will bet on super speedways, much like a Corey LaJoie has paid off for me time and time again. But I think it was like 3-1. So, and then he's pigeonholed into having to finish in the top 5. Now, obviously, if another Ford beats him and he's in the top 5 and doesn't cash this bet, that's the trade-off. But there's only 5. He only has to beat 4 other guys in this race to cash a plus 250, just a large group bet. And again, if you want to kind of grab some insurance with Harrison Burton, I wouldn't mind that strategy as well. I'm not giving that out officially, but Sieg top Ford. He's a super speedway guy, a guy that I really like. He is always consistently up front during these races. Occasionally he'll get caught up in some stuff. I will say Atlanta's not been as kind to him as the others, but he's still been pretty good overall. 10th place, 15th, 11th place, a tough 37th place finish. The last couple here, 22nd, 32nd, and in the spring he was 20th. So it's gotten a little bit dicier, but Sieg is a guy that I trust very much. He's a proven super speedway guy. We've seen the Xfinity Series we talked about the Cup Series and how Atlanta has been more calm, right? We've seen more predictable winners. It's been less wrecky. The Xfinity Series on all of the super speedways are less wrecky, really. If like we look at it honestly, it tends to be the least chaotic of the 3 series on the super speedways, and it tends to be the most chalky up top. So give me a guy that consistently gets it done in Ryan Sieg, top Ford, plus 250. And then going over to top Toyota, it's the same thing. There's a lot of fucking Chevrolets in this race. There's only 6 Toyotas in this race, Rod. So we're going to take our guy, Brandon Jones, plus 350. You got Eric Almirola as a heavy favorite in this one, Taylor Gray, William Sawalich, Dean Thompson, who we'll talk about in a minute, and actually, we're not going to talk about him. I changed my Dean Thompson. I had a Dean Thompson bet. Rod got rid of it. And Patrick Starpoli, again, he's a dentist, and he's in a Sam Hunt car. Not overly worried about him. So all Brandon Jones has to do, beat 5 other guys, plus 350. It's the same thing, right? You're just getting a large group here, and does may not have to be that great of a finish. Almirola gets caught up in a wreck. Taylor Gray gets wiped out in it. Suddenly now all he has to do is beat William fucking Sawalich, right? That's easy. And Dean Thompson and then Patrick Starpoli. It's not crazy to happen at plus 350. I think that manufacturer groups are great. Impulse checking in. He knows we got some lady listeners. Rod says, hey, ladies, shouting out our lady degenettes, I believe, as the guys over on the main show call them. So shout out to Impulse for keeping the ladies in mind.
I do. I actually listened to that in the voices of the Beastie Boys. So I got it. I was like, "Hey, ladies!" That's how I got that one. But no, as far as the Sieg bet goes, and like you said, I mean, this is super speedway. So basically, what you're doing is you're just kind of prepping for whatever to happen, and hopefully it pans out. And all you can look at really is a little bit of consistency and really where you're going with it. So obviously, Sieg's always a good one to do that. And then for Brandon Jones, I mean, again, you just got to pick your spots with these guys. Much like you have to pick your spot with Sheldon Creed. Look, Atlanta Motor Speedway, or the EchoPark Speedway now, has not been particularly kind to Sheldon Creed over the years. An average finish for him of 17.7, which is, already disappointing enough. But his average start is 10.9. So that tells me that even though he qualifies well, can't seem to put a good finish together. He did finish 9th in his first year in 2022, then 12th, then 21st, then 35th, then 4th. So a great time in that 18 car in 2024 in the spring. But then 25th and 14th in his last two finishes. Why do I bring all of this up? Well, I'm not going to place a bet on him. I'm placing a bet against him, and I'm going to take Connor Zilich over Sheldon Creed. What's crazy, though, is that this was at minus 125, and I know we tend to shy away from minus money bets on super speedways, especially in head-to-head markets. But I feel confident in giving this over Sheldon Creed because it was a rough go for Connor Zilich in the first time that he ever met this Atlanta track, right? 34th place finish, crashed out, but he did start 10th, which means he had a little bit of speed there. But Rod, you just made a case against Sheldon Creed for that. Well, yeah, but if you look at what Connor Zilich has been doing lately across several disciplines of tracks, it's been on fire the last 4 races. 2nd at Charlotte, 2nd at Nashville, 5th at Mexico City. He just won Pocono. So, again, a big, expansive track with a lot of speed, right? We're talking about a super speedway track, a drafting track, but he just did that on a huge track in Pocono. He won that race. Sheldon Creed, on the other hand, can't really say the same about him for this season. His average finish this year, 16.9. Now, granted, he did finish 14th in Atlanta, like we talked about, so he did beat him head-to-head. He did beat Zilich head-to-head, but 36th at Texas, 10th at Charlotte, 4th at Nashville. Great, but Zilich beat him in both of those. 11th at Mexico City, again, another instance where Zilich beat him. And then 36th at Pocono. He crashed out of last week's race. Sheldon Creed, that streak of second place finishes that he was on for a very long time, that's gone. Those days are sailed past. And maybe it's because he's in that 00 now. Maybe it's because something's gone wrong. Who knows? But all I know is that Zilich right now, if you look at his trajectory, is going like this. Whereas Sheldon Creed's is kind of going, and I'm going to take the guy with the upward trajectory, even at minus money, at minus 125, to hang tough and to stick it through. Because, look, when those first 2 plate races of the year for Zilich, right, 27th and 34th, crash out of both of that, I'm sure he learned exactly what not to do at those tracks, and he's going to come back, and especially at Talladega, too. He's had 3 cracks where he's crashed out of those. I think he's going to have to break that streak at this point, especially on the hot streak he's on.
He's due for one. Let me check my notes here, Rod. Sheldon Creed's still dead to me. So, yeah, no argument.
Poor guy. No, I mean, look, again, it's just he's due for a really good finish on a super speedway. He's on an upper trajectory, so I like that one. All right,
yeah, I like the momentum angle of that matchup. I mean, Zilich is on top of the world right now. Creed is just sucking wind. So, yeah, take him while he's hot. Again, it's so tough to handicap a race like this because it should be chaotic in drafting track super speedway stuff, but it tends not to be more than, but it still could be, right? And that's the tough part, but I do like the Zilich part of that. No top 10, so we're going to go to the top 5 market, Rod. And actually, I really like both these guys for these top 5s anyways. Give me Nick Sanchez, top 5, 4-1. 1 career start here, Rod, in the Xfinity Series. 1 career top 5, exactly 50. Finished 5th place here back in the spring in the Big Machine Racing car. And last year in the trucks, fifth place finish. So last 2 times he's been here at Atlanta, exactly finished in fifth. I like both of those things. I think he's another guy that's been doing really well lately. We've seen a lot of good stuff from him. So yeah, give me Nick Sanchez top 5 at 4-1. And then Rod going down the board 13-1. Parker Retzlaff top 5, 13-1. This is the Parker Retzlaff, Rod, that almost won a cup race last year on a drafting track. That alone commands a lot of respect, right? Yes, it's an Alpha Prime car. I get that. It's not the greatest. 13-1 for a reason, right? 27th here in the spring, not the best day of days, but 12th place here last year in the fall, 5th place here last spring. So he's done the top 5 before he can get it done. 16th, 27th in the other starts. But he is a guy that is good on the super speedways and always kind of shows up. And just that cup race in particular stands out to me. A 7th place finish at Talladega a couple of years ago. And then looking at Daytona, he's been really good at Daytona, actually. A 3rd place, a 7th place, a 4th place finish in a few of his races there. So been a little bit tougher since he's gone to Alpha Prime, but I'm going to overlook that part of it because, again, I think that once you get in the draft, he's going to be working just fine. And just all you have to do is get a top 5, 13-1 in what is a bit of a limited market, and we're kind of looking around for things for a guy that top 5. I'm pretty sure he finished top 5 in that race last year that he just about won on a drafting track. So give me Parker Retzlaff top 5, 13-1.
He's another guy that I feel like is due for something good to happen because it just feels like he has been caught up in so much junk over the last. How much of it is self-imposed? I don't know, but it seems like he needs to have something good happen as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Laura checking in, Rod. Am I late or are you early? She says, howdy. Both, Laura. We started 30 minutes early today. Softball tournament starts tonight for the daughter, so we had to get this knocked out a little bit early. So we're early. You're early for our normal time, late for our early time. You figure it out. Ash also checking in. Sorry if this has already been covered. Tab Boyd taking over the spotting duties for Christopher Bell this weekend. I think this is an upgrade. This is one of the funniest things to me, Rod, is you get guys like Kyle Larson, says some stuff he shouldn't say on that iRacing stream, gets fired from Chip Ganassi Racing, turns around and comes back in the 5 car, and the rest is history, right? Tab Boyd gets fired for whatever he got fired for. He made some comments about Mexico. Apparently, he might have, allegedly gave money to somebody outside a hotel thinking they were going to give him back money and whatever. Gets fired from the 47 car, and now suddenly he's on Christopher Bell because they needed a new spotter, and he is available. So it's always interesting to me when you, get fired for an oopsie, and then it winds up getting you a way better job. Like, props to you for turning it into something. But interesting story always. And the whole Christopher Bell thing is in and of itself interesting because that spotter just quit all 3 series after 3 wins in the Cup Series earlier this year. Just and did he win the All-Star race too, didn't he?
I think
and then
so,
it was like and he quit right after that. It's like, okay, and who knows, might something going on personal or whatever. I don't think anything's really come out about that, but very interesting when you accidentally fail up, I guess.
I mean, there's nowhere for us to fail up because this is the most sought after job in the industry. So we can't really fail up. So I don't want to fail at all, I guess, is really what there is to it. But all right, I'm going to carry over. I haven't done a winning car number in Xfinity in a very long time. And I feel like this is a good spot to do it because I don't want to bet on individual drivers anymore. Like I'm really tired of that for super speedways. So we're just going to take a bunch of drivers. And the number here is set at 20.5. You'd be silly not to take the over on this one, especially at -110. This is, by all rights and accounts, the Austin Hill double up on this one, right? Because Austin Hill, obviously, the 21 car. So if you're setting it at 20.5, the first number over is 21. You get the picture, right? But it's Austin Hill, and it's basically a way to double up on Austin Hill. But it's not as if you don't get some pretty decent drivers on the other side of that as well. Harrison Burton, who we've talked about at length this season, is always a factor to win somewhere, and it could be a factor to win here if he can hold it together, right? Super Speedway Racing, we've seen some crazy stuff happen there. You got Dean Thompson, you get Jeb Burton on the other end of this too. Guess what you get, cousin Danny? Catherine Legg. If Catherine Legg accidentally wins this race in the 32, she's there too. You get Ryan Sieg, you get Sam Mayer, you get Fast Pasta, right? You get Nick Sanchez, who we've really kind of talked about here and there. You get guys like Taylor Gray in the 54, who's a contender each and every week. You get my favorite Connor Zilic, which I picked as a long shot, by the way, to win the Cup race. If you go back and listen to my reasoning for that, right? But he's always a factor, and we know how good he is, and we were talking about him earlier over Sheldon Creed. Well, maybe he actually wins the whole damn thing, and then of course he cashes your head-to-head on that one as well. And then you get guys like Matt DiBenedetto, who secretly and quietly could put together a good race in that 99 car. And if he sticks up, and he's a Chevy, right? So he's going to be pushed by a lot of fast people if he's in front. I'm just saying, right? This is a number group that has some good potential in it. I know that the under 20 has the guys like Quapple, Love, Allgaier, and then Eckes maybe, and then Amarola, right? And Brandon Jones. But I don't know. I feel like there's still equally as good shots for some of these other guys over 20 and a half to get this done. And the one of all, right? And just in case the 21 does end up wrecking out, you're covered on a whole bunch of other guys above that number as well.
Yeah, honestly, that might be a better way to go than just taking Austin Hill outright. But you're getting a lot of good drivers over that number. So I do like that, and don't generally argue with you on car number bets. Anyways, Rod, heading over to the outrights market, I have gone back and forth. I have thought about this, and I wasn't sure what to do. This is interesting because Austin Hill is plus 225, and I've preached on the show for years. You do not bet guys at plus 225 on super speedways, but they've been here 7 times in the next gen era, or not in the next gen era, in the drafting track era of Atlanta. He's won 5 of them, Rod. 5 of 7 is pretty fucking good. Also, betting the chalk that should win has not gone well for me lately. Corey Haim, I've got him on the line over here. But how do you not 5 out of 7 he's won? And like when he won here in the spring, he led 146 laps. Like you talk about Pied Piper and just leading the drafting track, and he's like, it's like he can't be stopped. They will purposely try not to work with him, and he still gets it done. He still finds a way. So don't go crazy. Don't like smash multiple units on this. But if you want to play an outright, I think Austin Hill is just the way to go at plus 225. Again, this is kind of a lighter Xfinity card. There's not a lot of great stuff out there. 5 of 7 races he's won. Rod, did I tell you 5 of 7? It's absolutely insane, and it's been 3 in a row now. Swept it last year. Absolutely kicked everybody's ass here in the spring. So it's hard to go against him. But you could get the result that you got in Daytona earlier this year, where he started 4th, but won both stages, led 56 laps, and then something bad happened, right? But he's also won 3 of the last 7 at Daytona. It's not just an Atlanta thing. He's good at these other drafting tracks as well. Talladega is definitely his weakest one, Rod, where his best career finish was 14th until earlier this year when he won. So it's like, how do you not take him? I think you just have to at this point in time, because he will be up front. He will lead a lot of laps. He is going to be the best car. Jesse Love will probably give him a run for his money, as he generally does. And he's close right behind him betting favorite, so hard to bet him also. But I think you just have to bite the bullet at plus 225. Maybe this is the jinx we need for Hill not to win. And if he does win, then fine. We at least had on him. So that's my thought there. I've struggled and gone back and forth because I've adamantly been against this time, and you've hit it multiple times. I stole it from you this time, but I've adamantly been against it, and I just don't think, how do you, he just keeps doing it. So I think you have to do it. So 5 of 7, Rod. Jesus Christ, it's crazy. But then, you got to have your insurance plays, sprinkle some stuff. Ryan Sieg, 22-1, talked about him already. He's a guy that always gets an auto bet from me. Hasn't won yet, but he's been goddamn so close multiple times. And Nick Sanchez, I just talked about a minute ago, 25-1. I think he's worth a little sprinkle as well. 5th in his one start here, 5th last year in the trucks. He's a very smart race car driver, knows what he's doing. I think that he knows how to work that system. In a Chevrolet, there's a lot of Chevrolets in this field. Obviously, we talked about how small the Ford and Toyota groups are, but it's a lot of strong ones, right? 4 strong JRM cars. Well, 3 strong JRM cars and Sammy Smith. 3 strong JGR cars. William Swalch doesn't count. Oh, wait, those are Toyotas. Never mind. I just wanted to talk bad about Swalch again. But the 2 RCR cars, obviously, extremely good. So the Chevys are going to be working together well. So, yeah, that's, man, I really struggle with this one, but I think that's the way to go, Rod.
Well, and I'm glad that you came along with me on this Austin Hill thing, because if I, like, again, stop your drink if you've heard this one before. If I hit you 5 times out of 7, you're going to duck that 8th.
It's a pretty good batting average, Rod.
That's a damn good batting average. You're going to the Hall of Fame if you bat that well. So,
yes.
Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure. And honestly, that is the way to go. I think you have to bet Hill, because if you do not, then you're setting yourself up for failure when he does end up eventually winning. But like you said, you have to have some insurance, and I'm going to give you Justin Allgaier for mine. Finished second in this race to Austin Hill earlier this year. And look, on super speedways altogether of 2+ miles, right? According to our friends over at the Racing Reference, he's got 92 starts, 3 wins, 25 top 5s, 48 top 10s. So a really, really good average there for Justin Allgaier on these drafting tracks. And I mean, you know, he's got an average finish here of 13.7. So a win is not necessarily all that what he's got 1 win on this track, and that was before the super speedway averages. 10 top 10 finishes and 19 starts. He had a really rough stretch though ever since we turned this into a super speedway. He's only got 2 top 10 finishes in that span. Finishes of 34th, 29th, 17th, 28th, 30th, and 2nd, right? Which I'm kind of banking on that at 12-1 as sort of the, okay, he finished 2nd here. That could have very easily been 1st, and maybe he's got something figured out. Maybe he'll settle down, and maybe we'll get a good finish out of him. So, I mean, again, I wholeheartedly back the Austin Hill play, but I think Justin Allgaier is not bad insurance as well at 12-1.
Yeah, I don't have any argument for this. Allgaier obviously been great so far this season. Pretty good super speedway guy as well, drafting track guy, Rod. I think that's the proper way to say this these days.
I believe that is the proper way to say that. All right, that is it for the Xfinity Series. We will close the book on that one. And when we come back from the break, we will open a new chapter and a new chapter in the Craftsman Truck Series, as well as they visit Lime Rock Park. What,
Rod? Or are we going to recap the Xfinity bets, or are we going to save that for the end?
I thought we were going to save it for the. See, I don't even know anymore. I don't know how we do this anymore.
I feel like we usually recap now, but
okay, we'll recap the Xfinity. So get out your pen and paper or your whiteboards. We're going to go over
It is on Friday, so if somebody's checking this out in the morning and want to get those Xfinity bets in, you want to do that earlier rather than later.
You're a man of the people, Cody. Thank you very much for setting me straight. This Focused Health 250 from the EchoPark Speedway. Cody started you out with Ryan Sieg as a top Ford selection at +250. Brandon Jones, top Toyota at +350. I gave you Connor Zilic over Sheldon Creed at -125 over on Caesars. Cody gave you Nick Sanchez as a top 5 car at +400. And then Parker Retzlaff as a top 5 car at 13-1. I said the winning car number would be over 20.5 at -110. And then Cody said one of those cars, Austin Hill, would be your outright at +225. Ryan Sieg, 22-1, and Nick Sanchez, 25-1 are his insurance bets. My insurance bet, Justin Allgaier at 12-1 over on FanDuel. All right. Now let's close the chapter on this Xfinity Series, and we'll move over to the Truck Series. But before we do, let me tell you about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. That's right. Underdog Best Ball Mania is happening all summer long. They're giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million to first place. And no waiver wire. There's no arguments about trades. Best Ball is literally the best way to play fantasy football. Underdog's also a great place to play Pick'em. And you know why? Because they give you awesome projections like Isaac Hadjar to finish better than 11.5 in the Austrian Grand Prix. I've been banging the drum all week, much like I have for my Red Blacks. If you have not already jumped on Isaac Hadjar, better than 11.5 place finish in the Austrian Grand Prix, please do so. because that guy's been a points machine in that Racing Bulls little car that he's got going on there. So go jump on that right now. And while you're at it, sign up with our promo code RACESGP. And if you haven't already, to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGP. And let's tell you about our friends over at Rhythm. You've heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time, win the line, and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily, and they are exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean, data-backed bets. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know that we are going to. Go get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm.
Interestingly enough, Rod, Kyle Larson not available on Underdog just yet. I guess they don't really know what to do with him. We know what to do with him, but that's okay. I did want to toss out mi amigo, Daniel Suarez, Rod. 12.5? Oh, my goodness. That is a hammer on the better. You can also, if you're feeling extra spicy, Top Chevy driver, the yes is 4.5 times your entry. So, little spicy mi amigo. Don't mind it at all.
I mean, not to say that you can't still watch my video, but I believe that will be a heavy one on my video as well for my underdog picks for the slate, man. This is gonna be great. Woo. Give me that.
Absolutely. Shifting over to the Truck Series, Rod. Impulse says might be a Heim Hill weekend, and Ash saying Heim time at the Lime. I like it. Rolls right off the tongue. All right, Rod. Where are we going for this? If you're following along, by the way, I just posted a picture of the track in the Discord, so you can get over there. If you're listening later or whatever, pull over, Google Lime Park or Lime Rock Raceway Park, and check out the shape of this place because it's interesting.
Well, like I said, we are at the Lime Rock Park in the Lakeville, Connecticut, set for 100 laps around this 15-mile track, but technically it says 147.8. So technically, I guess it's about a 14.7 mile track. I don't know. The Wikipedia says that it is 15, just over 15, 1.530 miles is what it is. And there's 7.
They're running a little bit of a shortened course, I guess, because it is the 1.478 7-turn course that they're running.
Yeah. So this one, it's got the up. Okay. So it starts off with Big Bend from 1 to 2. And then the third turn is the left-hander. And then the fourth turn is the right-hander. And then the straight with no name is.
And when we say turns, like, these are like oval track turns. I mean, they're just wide sweeping. There's no technicality to this. Again, you've got to go look at a picture, please. Because we can't even describe it to you how it looks. I don't even know. Like I was trying to think of like play the game. We played on the F1 Gambling Podcast. What does this track look like? Is it like a drumstick? Is that or not a drumstick, but it was like a chicken wing, a drummy chicken wing? I guess is that where you would maybe go with? Where
it kind of looks like a shortened version of the state of Kentucky, like or like if Kentucky were shortened in and all kind. Yeah.
So, the biggest question is NASCAR's never raced here in any series, right? So ARCA's going to race here and the trucks are going to race here, but this is the first time. So we've never seen NASCAR of any type on this. In the way that it's laid out, it's probably going to race more like an oval than an actual road course, but you're going to have to make some more turns. There's some left-handers or some right-handers in here, so that makes it a road course, but it just, how do you handicap this? I mean, I think it's going to lean more towards the high. Like, again, we'll talk about it in a minute, but Heim should dominate, which he should every week, and we should be there again. But yeah, this is an interesting one, Rod. Very interesting.
Well, it's interesting because as you start, right, immediately you're going into a right-hander, 2 right-handers, and then a left, and then a right. If you ran this the other way, if you ran this the way that you traditionally run an oval, then it would,
It's just basically an oval.
Yeah, it is. And
with a few bends, like somebody put some cones out in the corner and they're like, oh, you got to go around these. So I guess running it that direction makes it different because it is, a clockwise direction you're running instead of counterclockwise. But yeah, I don't know, Rod. Interesting. But there is 35 entries for this race, so all the trucks will make it. Brent Cruz, big time kid coming up to the Toyota development program. He is going to be in that number 1 for Tricon Garage. Thomas Annunziata is back. He has got a good ride for probably the first time. He is going to be in the 07 truck for Spire Motorsports. Jordan Taylor, a name we've talked about before, Rod. He, of course, filled in for Chase Elliott at COTA a couple of years ago in that 9 car. Looked damn good in practice, looked damn good in qualifying. Learned a little bit in the race for sure, but he's a multi-time IMSA champion, does a lot of, so that's the thing. Like, we've got some road course ringers in this, but how much of a road course is it? Josh Balicki's back in the 44, and from down under, Cam Waters is returning to NASCAR in the number 66. Of course, he's going to be racing at Chicago, I do believe, next week. I think he'll be in the Cup Series again for RCR if I saw that correct. But he's going to be back. He is a fellow to SVG from down in the Supercar Series, a very good racer over there. So he'll be back in the 66 for Thor Sport, which is interesting because I thought he was a Chevy guy, but Thor Sport is Ford. So whatever.
Yeah. Well, again, these are all fun names, and we're actually going to talk about a few of them here as we break this thing down. The Leuna 150. So, Cody, I feel like now's as good a time as any to start the card for this Truck Series race.
Yeah, let's do it. So, again, breaking this down, what do you look at? That's the tough part. So we've not been on any road courses this year, so you have nothing to look at, right? The trucks didn't go to COTA this year, which they've gone to the last couple of years. So you don't have that. How much is this a road course? How much is this just current form? You got to kind of mix the two. If you want to go back and look at some road courses, which I did, you got COTA from last year. That was the only road course. Mid-Ohio and COTA from 2023. Again, then you're kind of getting far removed from some of these guys even being in them. How much is a race like a road course once again? So very interesting, to kind of break this down. And much like Xfinity, I went very light on this card because I think it's tough to know what we're going to get here, and the odds kind of aren't great. So, but the odds that are good on somebody that I like, Lane Riggs, top 5 plus 220. Look, Lane Riggs is a guy that we love, right? He's been fast every single week. He's looked good. What's he done on road courses? 27th at COTA last year. That's, I believe, the only road course start we have from him because we've not raced much for road courses. So I was trying to see if he was, Zane Smith won in this truck at Mid-Ohio, or at COTA rather, a couple of years ago, but I don't think that Lane raced. Oh, he did. No, wait, that's the same race. Oh boy. Wrong tab, Ron. But so it's just, I don't know. Lane Riggs, current form, he's looked really good. Plus 220 for a top 5. He's been fast each and every week. If he's fast on the ovals, I expect this to look a lot like the guys who are fast on the ovals to look good because, again, it's more racing similar to that, I suppose. So give me Lane Riggs plus 220 for a top 5.
Yeah, again, really the only difference between them racing on the traditional oval and racing on this punched in oval is the fact that they'll be turning right instead of turning left on it. And that's essentially what's kind of, if you can turn right, then I think you're okay. If you can list lazily to the right instead of listing lazily to the left, I think you're good to go on this one. So I'm kind of with you on that. Obviously, you can't slow down Lane Riggs lately, so you might as well just hop on board, especially at plus 220 with his top 5 number. You mentioned Thomas Annunziata earlier and him being in that 07 truck, which obviously we know has actually won a race this season. In fact, Kyle Larson piloted it to a win at Homestead. Kyle Larson also took it to second place at Bristol. William Byron put it in second place in Kansas. Kyle Busch, 9th place in North Wilkesboro. Corey LaJoie, a 5th place finish at Michigan with this 07 truck. But he's not any of these guys. Like, that's my only problem. Yes, he is in quality equipment. Yes, he's a good ARCA Menard series, but this is his first career truck start, right? He's made 11 Xfinity starts in his career, but this is his first truck start, and he's making it at a very odd track. So I'm not high on his probability of making a very, like, he'll be a top 10 truck, probably. That's fine. I'll give him that. But we've also seen Michael McDowell struggle, right? He struggled at Daytona, which is a super speedway. I get it. But we saw Sammy Smith have trouble at Rockingham and finish 16th. Nick Sanchez at Texas finished 13th. So BJ McLeod finished 15th. Patrick Emerly just finished 15th at Pocono last week in this truck. So yeah, this is great equipment, but not everybody can drive it the same. And then that, to me, I kind of feel like we're going to give this guy his very first truck start on a very odd track. But here we have Caden Honeycutt against him, right? Which is minus 115 over on ESPN for Caden Honeycutt over Thomas Annunziata, who obviously we know is a full-time driver in the series and who just, by the way, ended up finishing well in Pocono, the previous race that we had going on. In fact, Caden Honeycutt finished third at Pocono. So, you know, if we're going to talk about this being a semi-triangular track, I mean, yeah, the right turns are going to be a little more, I guess, tricky. However, Caden Honeycutt has done well on that track as all. He's got an average finish of 13.1 this season. He finished 6th at Nashville, 3rd at Charlotte, 8th at North Wilkesboro, 8th at Kansas, 6th at Rockingham, 8th at Bristol, 10th at Homestead. We always talk about these niece trucks being very fast and being good, and we always talk about Caden Honeycutt being good. So I'm going to take the series regular, even on a brand new track, all things being equal, over a guy who's making his first truck series start, because as we know, there's a lot of landmines too, and Corey Heim will attest to this. There's a lot of landmines in this truck series, and if Corey Heim finds them, I think Thomas Annunziata may find a couple along the way as well. But yeah, give me Caden Honeycutt over Thomas Annunziata. Not to say that he won't have a good day, but I think Caden Honeycutt will have a better one at minus 115.
Yeah, I mean, Annunziata just still new. We still don't exactly know what we're going to get out of him. We haven't seen him in a good ride really yet. So, but Honeycutt's a guy who gets it done. Again, it's the cross between treating this like a oval, treating this like a road course, but Honeycutt's been pretty good this season. So you like that. Nick Fortune checking in, Rod, says, good afternoon, Hot Rod and Sir Sassy Cody. I got my sirhood. Yes. He says, ready for another good weekend of betting. Let's go. And we see you, JDK. We'll get there in a second. But first, Taylor Gray, top 5, 14-1. I know JDK will back me on this one. He's been preaching this one over in the Discord. But I like Taylor Gray this week, Rod, at 14-1. He has had a pretty solid season, right? We've seen Taylor Gray put together some good stuff. We've seen him have some good runs just overall, right? Coming off a 9th place oh boy, what am I doing? Not Taylor Gray, Tanner Gray. Sorry. Taylor Gray, not in this race. He's in the Xfinity Series. Tanner Gray, which is who I meant to bet on, by the way, was Tanner Gray, but I, for some reason, wrote Taylor Gray. You know how much I love him, but Tanner Gray, top 5, 14-1, just to be correct there. But to my point, coming off a great run of Pocono, 2nd place last week, right? He's had some good runs recently, with an 11th place at North Wilkesboro, a 5th place at Texas, 3rd place back in Las Vegas. So there's been some good stuff, and even, 16th, 17th, some other decent runs kind of throughout the season so far. But you go back and you look at what he's done, right? Last year at COTA, the one road course race we had, if you want to look at the road course stuff, 10th place finish. 2023, qualified 6th at Mid-Ohio, running up front early. That turned into a complete shit show of a race. Didn't get quite the finish that he wanted, but 8th place finish at COTA in 2023. So if you're putting in the combination of what have you done for me lately, where he's had some bright spots, right? Looked good in some runs, plus decent results, and has looked good on some of the road courses we've run over the last couple of years. And you get it at 14-1. It's a big number. He's in a good truck. I like the combination of all that. Give me Tanner Gray at 14-1 for the top 5.
I'm sure that even mom gets confused every once in a while. Come over here.
You know how it is. They got to roll through all the kids. You toss a dog's name in there always. Like that's how it works.
It's funny though, because we've talked about it before. Tanner's the older brother. And so when you start mixing up the younger brother and the older brother, it should tell you a little bit of something about what's going on. So love that. All right. Remember what I said about Thomas Annunziata? Why don't you go ahead and flush that out of your memory, because I'm about to make a case for a guy who's making his first Truck Series start as well in another Spire car, and that is Jordan Taylor, top 5.
AKA, well, JDK says Randy Sandstorm, but I believe his alter ego, Rod, is Rodney. Oh boy, what is it? I gotta pull it up here because I don't want to get it wrong. What is his alter ego? Do you know what it is, Rod?
I actually didn't know
Have
this.
you?
No.
You don't know this? So yeah, he's got a complete alter ego. As I'm trying to, gosh, where was it at? I had it on. Oh yeah, Rodney Sandstorm. That's what it is.
Okay.
But yeah, he dresses up in like Jeff Gordon 24 Rainbow Warrior jacket, and has an entire second personality and goes by the name Rodney Sandstorm.
Well, now I like him even better, and I like him as a top 5 car here at minus 120 over on Caesars. The frustrating thing is that, this is this guy making his first cups or a Truck Series start rather. So to minus 120 for a top 5 just feels like it's a gigantic misprice. And I understand if you get a little scared, because he has made one Cup Series start in 2023. He actually started 4th in Austin and finished 24th. And so this is where I'm kind of basing my whole world on, because if you can start 4th at COTA in 2023 in the 9 car, right, then you should be able to do well. And this is where I sort of differentiate him from Annunziata, right? Because they trusted him enough to put him in the 9 car while Elliott was on the mend back then in 2023. Right, this was when he was injured. I'm trying to remember back that far, but he started 4th, right, and ended up finishing 24th. Yeah, I get it. There's a lot of potholes to navigate there, but he actually made a couple of starts in Colleague equipment in the Xfinity Series before that. Portland, he started 6th, ended up finishing 27th. I know that sucks in the 10 car, but then he started on the Roval and started 12th and finished 16th overall in the 11 car. So he's got a little more experience under his belt than does Annunziata when it comes to starting in the higher series of the thing. And now he's starting in a Spire truck, which we have watched Carson Hocevar relentlessly finish poorly. No, I'm just kidding. Carson Hocevar has, he finished 11th and 13th in both of his starts before that. But Corey Day had a 5th place finish at Nashville. See, this is when I was reading off the finishes from guys in the 07 that weren't at the caliber of Kyle Larson, William Byron, and all that other good stuff. They were finishing, but Corey Day, 5th place finish at Nashville. Sammy Smith, who we all know is one of those guys that you're like, but he had a top 10 finish in North Wilkesboro. Carson Hocevar did pilot this to a win at Kansas. All right, fine. Make up for that one. Kyle Busch took this car to a win in Atlanta, and Justin Haley, 5th place finish in Daytona. So some good quality finishes. All right, fine. Corey Day did finish 22nd and 15th and 32nd and 15th. But if you notice a pattern, that's Corey Day. That's not, I'm saying that in tongue in cheek, of course, but I do think that, when you got a guy who they've trusted to be on a road course in the Cup Series, I like his chances to finish in the top 5 in this particular race, just because we talked about it, right? The Corey Himes of the world, the Lane Riggs of the world, the Caden Honeycutts of the world. There's only a handful of guys that I would feel comfortable putting in the top 5, let alone the top 4. And there's going to be a wild card in this race. And why not Jordan Taylor? And I think he stands a good chance to hang with the big guys at minus 120, especially in that Spire equipment.
Yeah, Laura, minus 120 for a first timer with a bunch of question marks. I mean, yes, first timer in the trucks. It is an all-star, quote unquote, truck. So you've got that. He is a bit of a ringer, right? He's an IMSA guy. He was picked to drive the 9 car for Chase Elliott. I mean, that shows kind of what level of a road course racer he is. Again, the road course part of it, how much does it come in? Hey, boy, I'm sort of siding with Laura on this. I don't know if I could pull the trigger on it. But again, it's slim pickings in the Truck Series this week, Rod.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you, we've tried to before. Cody, when he comes to the table, he comes with an entire cornucopia of everything. This time, he literally just brought cheese and crackers to the party, and
yeah,
I'm not used to this.
I know, and that's how you can really tell. Like, man, honestly, as we've gone through this, I found some stuff that I like, and I'm going to place this. And I always I want to have the action, right? And I don't care what it is or how little research we have, but there's just not a lot of stuff I feel comfortable giving out because these are tougher races, both of these, and where the odds are, it is kind of tough. So cousin Danny says, sorry, my stream glitched. What did Rod say about Carson Hocevar did in this truck? He won at Kansas. I believe that was what he was looking for, Rod. So,
I did, but I also highlighted the fact that he finished 11th.
He also almost won the Coca-Cola 600 in the Cup Series. If you didn't know, Rod, I just like to repeat that. So when it comes to the outright market, look, it should be Heim time, right? We all know this. It's every week. He's the best truck. He dominates every one of these fucking races until he just a flat tire. Like, what caused it to go flat? God damn it. Killing me last week. So I can't do it again. Like, I'm over it, right? I'm just going to here's how you approach betting outrights in the trucks. Corey Heim is going to win, but you can't bet on him. I think that's where we're at. So what are we going to do, right? You're going to take some insurance plays. You're going to take some longer shots. Lane Riggs should not be 12-1. What we've seen from him this year, he has been one of the few trucks that can actually run head-to-head with Heim at times. 12-1 is absolutely ridiculous. He should not be that number. That's why I'm in on him. Brent Cruz, Rod, 20-1. I like this a little bit. I love this kid. This kid, talented. This is a name you're going to want to get to know because you're going to hear a lot from him. March 30th of 2008 is his birthday, Rod. 17 years old. This kid is very young, but he comes from a background of a little bit of everything, right? SCCA Trans Am, TA2 Pro Series champion in 23. Last year, he won the World Series of Asphalt Super Late Model Cars Tour Rookie of the Year. So he's got the oval experience. He's got the road course experience. His list of accomplishments: 2017 Rotax Grand Nationals Micro Champion, Orange Blossom winner last year, Red Eye 100 winner, Chad McDaniel Memorial winner, youngest Lucas Oil National Midget Series winner at 13 years old, youngest Trans Am Series champion at 15 years old, youngest Trans Am Series winner at 14 years old. This kid is good. One career start in the Truck Series. We saw him come out at North Wilkesboro. Was running really good, actually. 8th in Stage 2, having a good race. Caught up in something late and didn't quite get the result. But I think that this kid is talented enough at 20-1. If Heim gets a flat tire, if Heim gets caught up at, that's the thing, right? Heim should win this. We've seen this story over and over and over, and more times than not, he's actually not won these races he should win. Brent Cruz is a guy who could put himself in position late, have a chance there. At 20-1, I think it's worth it. And guys who could put themselves in position, what if this turns into a shit show? We've never seen that in the trucks, right? Only every single week here lately, including the most recent time that this turned into a shit show, I believe, was Michigan. And Stuart Friesen won, Rod. So 66-1 for a guy who just won 2 weeks ago, coming off an 8th place finish at Pocono just last week, a 5th place run at Kansas. He's had some other good runs, 2nd place at Martinsville, or 9th place rather at Martinsville, 2nd place at Atlanta, 6th place at Las Vegas. He's had a pretty good run so far this season. He finally got that win after, saying he was about ready to hang it up. Go back to Mid-Ohio, turned into a bit of a shit show, but finished 4th place there in 2023. So if you want to toss in, hey, he's been able to manage a good finish on a road course. I think he's doing pretty well this season. Now he is locked into the playoffs, actually, Rod. So he's got some room to play, strategize, whatever it is. 66-1, again, should be Heim time. I'm going to keep saying that. But if it's not, a guy like Friesen has shown he can put himself in the right position to get a win. And just shouldn't be at 66-1. So taking the lighter approach, 3 a little bit of a longer shots. But guys that in Riggs and Friesen shouldn't be at these numbers. And Cruz I want to bet on because I believe in this young, talented kid and think that he could get it done.
Yeah, all 3 good, solid. And again, we don't know. We don't know. We can't stress that enough. We don't know. This is an instance where it's okay for us to not know because everybody can say, oh, I know exactly how this track is going to run. It's going to run. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. We've never seen a NASCAR Truck Series event on this track. You don't know. You have a good guess.
We don't have Xfinity to go back and compare it to. We don't even have ARCA. How did ARCA run here? We don't have that even. We got nothing. And this doesn't compare to anything. It's so much different than any of the road courses. It's so much different than any of the ovals. It's not like a roval. Like the rovals have partial like ovals in it, but it's not even that. So, boy, it's rough. It's tough.
This isn't even like your local boomers because we don't have boomers. Like it's more turns in a boomers track than there is in this one. But all right. I'm going to tell you this. Cody just got done telling you it should be Heim time. It absolutely should be Heim time. Right? I mean, the last time we went to a road course was Austin, and Corey Heim won on that track. Now, the only difference is this. I'm going to go ahead and say you have to put something on Heim because if you don't anyway, it's a lot like Austin Hill in Atlanta, right? I mean, yes, we have been burned a lot this season, but if this is a track in which there's going to be a lot of unknowns, well, I think the guy that's going to adapt the most is Corey Heim, and you got to put even at plus 140, you'll be hating yourself if he actually does come through this week. So a lot like Cody said, right? Yes, Heim's going to win. You have to assume anytime you walk onto a track in the Truck Series, Heim is going to win. But if he doesn't, well, then you got to make plans for it. So Heim plus 140, just wanted to put that out there. And then I'm going to go ahead and just say Jordan Taylor plus 650, right? If this guy in that 7 truck, which yes, Carson Hocevar has won in this 7 truck this season. I think that if anybody can get it done in Spire equipment, or anybody can beat Corey Heim if he has trouble, it is Spire equipment, right? We saw obviously Heim the top 2 of the trucks rather in the race last week, right? And obviously the pianos fell out of the sky, bad stuff happening out there for Hocevar as well. But that truck is fast. That truck is going to be fast. And if he can hold steady and if he can do good things with that truck, I think Taylor will be in the conversation by the end of this. And a plus 650 for a guy that's, capable of doing it in a truck that's capable of doing it. I'll take a risk on that. Again, let us make known to you guys that this is a track that we are not telling you to go heavy on because nobody knows what's going to happen. So if you are out there and you are risk averse, then play it safe on this track. Fine, go ahead. But we're also telling you that if you think that crazy stuff's going to happen, here are the options that we're giving you out there.
Yeah, man, the Heim part is just tough. I mean, I just said it 100 times, but he should fucking wipe the floor with everyone this week, Rod. But he's done that time and time again, and it hasn't worked out. That's the tough part. JB wants to know, any sprinkle on Cam Waters. He's in a decent truck in the 66 for Tricon or for ThorSport rather. And so I looked at him, but he's only 10-1. Like, and it's not even the problem with the Cam Waters and even Jordan Taylor. I think it in some degree is it's not really a road course, and that's the problem. Like, if this was a true road course, if this was Coda or Mid Ohio or Portland or one of these real quote unquote road courses, I'd be a lot higher on Cam Waters this weekend. I'd be a lot higher on Jordan Taylor, but it's more like an oval than a road course again. Like, where's the line? So I was hoping that Waters would be a little bit of a longer shot, but he's only 10-1. And that's where it's like, when I can get a guy like Riggs, who's been great all season and is just a hell of a race car driver at 12-1, and he's used to these trucks, and it's a full-time team that he's used to riding with, like, that makes it hard to bet on a guy like Waters. And again, I'm not saying don't, because I'm not going to tell you not to bet on anybody this week in the trucks, because who the fuck knows. But that's just my take on Waters and where we're at. And TK, it's kind of like the Roval, but even less complicated. I mean, it's more like Pocono with weird kinks in the turns, I guess. Like that.
And we're going the opposite direction.
Yeah, and we're going the other way. So
yeah,
I'm going to be real interested to see what it looks like, because it just I'm having a hard time even picturing what it's going to. And then you have that straightaway that's just like 6 miles long, it looks like on the graphic. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, that straightaway between 7 and 1. Yeah. I mean, you figure it's a mile 0.4 track, and the bottom, the final turn into the final backstretch is, yeah, I mean, it's kind of long. It's a very long, but I don't feel like it's any short or any any longer than maybe a Michigan.
Probably not. It just looks abnormally long because of the way the course is laid out. But
yeah. And then just to wrap up the Cam Waters thought too, he does have 2 Truck Series starts in the 66 truck from last season. He crashed out of Martinsville, finishing 30th in that race and 19th at Kansas in the 66.
But oval's not his thing. Like, hard to even compare those two. But again, this is more of an oval? Like, that's again that's where the 10-1 doesn't make sense, I don't think.
Well, we'll find out on Saturday morning along with everybody else in the world. So let's go over our bets. Get out your pen and paper or your whiteboards and go over this Leona 150. Cody started you off with Lane Riggs as the top 5 truck at plus 220. I said take Caden Honeycutt over Thomas Annunziata at minus 115. Cody said Tanner Gray, the eldest Gray, would be a top 5 truck at 14-1. I said take Jordan Taylor as a top 5 truck at minus 120. Cody gave you Lane Riggs at 12-1, Brent Cruz at 20-1, and Stuart Friesen at 66-1 to win the race. I said you got to take Heim, I guess, at plus 140. Can't not on Caesars. And then plus 650 for Jordan Taylor over on FanDuel to win this race. All right, Cody, we've wrapped up the Xfinity and the Truck Series in pretty much the week, actually.
Yeah, done with the week. Make sure you go back and listen. We have the bracket show where we make our picks on that, give out the bets for all 16 head-to-heads along with some outrights. We got the Cup Series pick show, of course, for EchoPark Speedway, a.k.a. Atlanta. And then yesterday we talked about DFS for the Cup Series as well. So go back and check all those out. Make sure you get that bracket in Saturday night. Again, the Cup race is Saturday night. Have it in before that. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NASCAR contest is the correct link for that. I did want to point out, too, we are using the NASCAR.com scoring. So go check the rules over there. They do have, which we probably should have talked about on the episode, but I didn't notice it. Shout out to my buddy Dan for pointing it out to me yesterday. But they are scoring the seeding difference if the upset wins. So, for example, if Ty Dillon, the 32 seed, beats Denny Hamlin, the 1 seed this week, he'll get the 10 points for beating him, but he also gets the 31 points for the difference. Now, if Denny Hamlin beats Ty Dillon, there's just the 10 points, right? And so keep that in mind as you fill out that bracket and all that over there.
That's going to be crazy. I know they're incentivizing taking the long shots so that they don't have to give out any prizes because no one's going to have a bracket that wins. But yeah, got to love it. So, all right, Cody. Well, then let's send everybody off into their weekend and actually start placing these bets for themselves and having a good time watching it all pan out as we welcome in Lime Rock Park to the NASCAR family.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy the racing this weekend. Should be fun. I mean, new course, different course. You like that kind of stuff, right? I think that's why you go a little bit lighter. You have some action because we like the sweat. You like the action, but you can also just enjoy it and see what it is, right? And the Truck Series can make that go one of 2 ways or 2 of 2 ways, or who knows, right? Going to be exciting. And then, of course, draft and track stuff is always fun. And watching Austin Hill's masterclass is always fun as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Rod, follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. NFL content is getting cranked out. It's that time of year. We're like 30-some days away from the Hall of Fame game. End of July is the Hall of Fame game. Let's fucking go. I'm excited. So follow me over there. Make sure you get in the contest, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NASCAR contest. Good luck this weekend. See you guys next week for Chicago Street Course for a swan song, Rod.
Well, swan-ish song. It'll probably be back in some capacity later on in life. But, yeah, for now, we'll say goodbye to it as well. All right, follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the about everything I got going on, whether it's here. Make sure you also check out the Back Road tonight. Me and Elliot will be talking about all of this stuff that we just talked about now, but it'll be with Elliot instead. So, yeah, we'll see you guys next week for more for Chicago. And until then, let's go racing and let it ride.